It's another Tuesday morning here in Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Newspaper Review and High Impact Television. My name is Godstein. Glad to know you're still there. Right about now, we have our guest joining us from the United Kingdom. He is a public affairs analyst, Otumba Hashim Olabadi. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's begin with the Punch newspapers this morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, great. Let's begin with the Punch newspapers. On the front page of the Punch newspapers, it says 15 cops and 5 soldiers killed. Governor says Abuja not safe. Now, something happened in Borno State yesterday. There was an attack, and of course, there was another attack at Greenfield School. This attack was on the army camp. Now, the conversation surrounding insecurity in Nigeria is one that creates worry, or that has sparked worry in the minds of every Nigerian. Now, how does this story make you feel?
Thank you very much for your time. It makes me feel very, very bad. And also makes me think when Nigeria is going to have government that will give them a break in the sense that they will look after them. The primary preoccupation of any government is look after the people, protect them, and protect their property. And when you start listening to news like this, so gloomy, it makes you wonder, is there any government around at all? Whether the federal, local, state, it seems that there's not. And it also shows clearly that 99% of news we had so far has elements of corruption. Because if corruption has not been part of this problem, some of the barracks, some of the places will have been securely secured. But you see that when barracks have been attacked, how then is ordinary houses are safe? So this is my initial reaction.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, now still talking about that attack. Now, if members of the, Nigerian police force and the army can be attacked, do you think that civilians are safe out there?
Of course not. I just said it that if civilian, if barracks of military and police are so open, so vulnerable, that any group of people, example, Boko Haram and some other groups like that, can easily access, can easily invade barracks, then what's left for ordinary man in his own house? They're not safe. It is not safe at all. And it's very sad to hear this kind of thing going on in Nigeria in 2021. Very, very sad.
What do you think can be done at this point now, considering that we have new service chiefs? I saw some tweets last night how Nigerians were calling out the service chiefs. They were actually saying that they are not doing anything. Do you think the new service chiefs are not doing anything? Because you would recall that from the time of their appointments till today, there has been a series of attacks.
Yeah, that's another problem. I think Nigerians have. When you look at the scorecard of the previous, even the 1v1, the last one, and this present one, you can see that there's no evidence that there's something is going on, that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And the problem here is, it all has to do with this kind of government Nigeria has at stake. We have government that does not know what to do. They are not putting in place the necessary requisite of good governance. And like I said, when you have a place where all what concerns, what matters most is stealing, taking the money of the people, using it for their own benefit, you're going to continue to have no problem. Well, so the service team
let me interrupt you, Otumba, if I may. Yeah. Now, talking about governments that do not know what to do, recall that Nigerians actually called for President Muhammadu Buhari to actually sack the previous service chiefs. because as a result of the growing insecurity. And the president heed to the calls of Nigerians, sacked them, and appointed new ones, right? Now, appointing new ones, do you think this has anything to do with the government because they are doing everything they can to see to it that insecurity comes to an end in the country?
Thank you, Gostan. Again, I want to repeat, it doesn't take any experts to understand that when you put in place proper measures, proper arrangements, things will work clockwise. This kind of news, this kind of scenario, this kind of situations is only, it can only be seen in Africa, especially in Nigeria as we speak. We're talking of billions of pounds, dollars that has been invested in securing the country. And we're still having to read, still having to sit down and discuss this kind of a loose situation in the country. There must be something fundamentally wrong. And what is fundamentally wrong is can only be the operators.
But
Who are the operators?
they've barely spent 100 days in office. Now, you talked about measures to put in place. What measures do you think should be put in place?
Well, I tried to join the Air Force in 1966. I didn't succeed. But all I know is measures will be something like the military chiefs know what they need to do in the area of Air Force, in the area of military, other area that need to security in the country. And we are not getting that. And this is nothing to do with the last one. Some people will say, oh, the last government was bad. No, the one before this one. And then this one, they have no reason to be talking about Jonathan. They need to do what they have to do. So the same thing goes with the service chiefs now as we speak. The new service chiefs should understand they are trained. They are highly qualified people in their different area of security. And we're not getting, Nigerians are not getting any value. They're not seeing anything good coming from this government. And that is the truth.
Otumba, let's move away from that story very quickly, still on insecurity. Now, this has to do with the attack that happened at Greenville School. Now, the abductors are asking for 5 million naira per student. And I saw an interview this morning of one of the parents saying he has 5 children schooling at Greenville. It means he has to pay 5 million naira per person. But the federal government is coming out to say that they would not negotiate with bandits, and whoever is caught negotiating to get their kids out and paying that amount of 5 million naira would be arrested. As a parent, what would you do in that situation?
Very difficult situation, as Riley said, as a parent. I would probably compare, be thinking of all options available to me. And, but again, God's time. The problem we have in here is the same thing with the insecurity that emanated from bad governance. I'm sorry, this is the truth. I live in a place that I cannot wake up in the morning and then the news I'm going to hear is 300 children were abducted or some military officers were abducted. These are absurd.
Otumba, the question is, as a parent, what would you do? Would you try to negotiate with those bandits and pay your money to get your kids alive, or would you stick with the federal government?
Just said to you, this is a very tricky question. For me as a parent, I will have to consider all possible options. But then I will tell you something. I will not really want to rely on what the federal government, because they are the cause, they are the bringer of this terrible situation. They are.
Otumba, thank you so much. We will have to move away from that story because as it is, I understand that the federal government is doing everything they can to see to it that they get those kids out well and alive. And I also understand that the conversation of negotiating with bandits is not on the table right now. People who are in power, I believe, are also parents as well. But let's see what happens with the story, and of course, we'll keep you updated. Away from that story, still on the Punch newspapers this morning, This one says Buhari will soon deal with criminals and sponsors, but that's not what we're talking about because we've taken that story already. Electricity tariffs may rise in July. NERC plans review. Now, the conversation of electricity in Nigeria has been on for quite some time as NERC is planning a review. How do you react to this?
Thank you. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not pitching gloomy situation or not reacting to what people want to hear. And I'm sorry, I always make inference to me as a person. I left Nigeria in 1970. It has always been the issue of NEPA not bringing light. So 51 years on, that we are still talking about not steady or regular supply of electricity. Isn't that a shame on all the whatever number of people that can read and write in Nigeria? It's a shame, and all can be traced back to corruption. It has always been a corruption problem. It has always been a very, very corruptive society. And until when that is dealt with, we will not going to get answer to most of the solutions. And I'm sure to also find out, I'm going to take, if the president says, oh, we are going to deal with terrorism and all that, I just take that with a very small pinch of salt. How many years does the government need to start working on state security, country security, and some other areas? We'll be talking of how many years?
I really would
all
have
the
loved
resources available to the government. It's very sad for me to sit down here in London and making this contribution to my fatherland, thinking that we have a government that doesn't know what they're doing. That's the truth.
Otumba, I really would have loved to continue this conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, have a great day.
You too.
Yeah. That was Otumba Hashim. He's a public affairs analyst. That's all we can take this morning. Remember to join us at 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's our primetime news to get details of the stories and other stories. And also remember that coronavirus is still out there. Be sure to have your hand sanitizers and your face mask on. And of course, stay safe out there. My name is God's Time David, wishing you an amazing day. Bye-bye.